You and I have to have a little one-on-one conversation. For a long time now, you've been telling me, TJ, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to start posting on Facebook. I'm going to start posting videos on LinkedIn. But it's always 3 months from now. And this has been going on not for a season or two. It's been going on for years. Now, maybe not you, of course, but a lot of folks just like you have been telling me this since I first went on YouTube, which was 2005. It's time for us all to be honest with each other and ask, what's really holding you back? Now, I can't read your mind, but I can take a guess. It's fear of criticism. It's not about, oh, I don't have the right camera. The cameras don't matter. It's not about, oh, do I have the perfect microphone? The microphones are all good these days, as long as you're not using a built-in microphone in your laptop. It's not about whether you need to lose a few pounds. It's about your own confidence, because I know you have expertise. You talk to people every day. You talk to clients, you talk to customers, you talk to prospects, you talk to colleagues every day about your area of expertise. And yet still, you won't talk to the rest of the world right here on social media in a video format. Why is that? I want you to really do some soul searching here, because it could be holding back your career dramatically. Because the fastest way for you to advance your career, to be more successful, is to reach more people with your ideas and your thoughts about how you can help them, how your expertise is uniquely helpful to other people. And if you're not talking on social media, you are severely limiting yourself. Now, you may still be successful. You may have a nice seven-figure income, but maybe you could have twice as much. I want you to really think about what is holding you back. Now, again, I can just guess. I can't really read your mind, but it may have something to do with the fact of something similar that I just got last week. I did a video giving people tips on public speaking and communication skills. And one of the comments was, TJ, you're really ugly and scary looking. Now, I can't lie to you and tell you I loved getting that comment, but is that what's holding you back from sharing your expertise with the world? Fear of a comment like that? Because I got to tell you, that's the first comment I've had like that in probably more than a year. And that's posting 100 or so videos. It's a really small percentage. I think Gary Vaynerchuk is right on the mark when he says, when you get a comment from someone saying something nasty, you shouldn't get angry. You shouldn't get upset. All you should really do is feel sympathy and pity for the person who left that comment. Because here's someone who has a million things to focus on in life, a million great ideas out there, things they could be sharing, things they could be learning. And of all the options they have to do with their time, they went around the internet looking for someone to make fun of and try to feel bad by leaving a nasty comment. Imagine the incredible hole in that person's life. And what I used to do, I didn't even do it this time. What I used to do is check their channel, see how great they look. Every single time I've ever done that, it is posted by someone who's afraid to show their own face. They never have any videos. Why not? Because they spend their time making cheap shots and criticisms of other people. You just have to laugh it off. There's not a single wildly successful person in the world who doesn't have somebody somewhere making nasty comments about them on the web. It is a price to pay for success. I think it's a pretty small price to pay. So I'm begging you, I'm urging you, get rid of these excuses as to why you can't communicate your message, your unique skills, your charms, your talents with the world. And the best way to do it is by speaking on video, because it's just too time consuming to go knocking door to door or speaking at one Rotary Club at a time, which was the old fashioned way. It's time to speak on video. And If what's holding you back is people saying you're not good looking enough, well, chances are you're better looking than I am. Chances are you're younger than I am. Chances are you have better hair than I do. And I'm not letting any of those things slow me down. So please, please don't continue to kick the can down the road and say, I'll start posting videos in 3 months. 3 months from now, we'll never get here. You need to start today. Hi, I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for joining me in this live session. We come to you every single week, 10:45 Eastern Time, to answer your questions, have a conversation about communication skills. Any question you have, any comment you have, we're welcome. You're welcome to share them. You can come join us live as well. And we've got Hassam joining us. Janice has joined us. And Janice says, feel pity for someone who doesn't want to learn and instead leaves unhelpful comments. Our colleague Barb is with us today. Barb, happy you're here. And Henry has joined us. We're going to go to Dell first, who was patiently waiting. Dell, how are you today?
Doing great. Thank you.
And I apologize, just one other program note. After every question has been answered today, I'm going to go and do a deep dive analysis of a TikTok and social media star, Charlie D'Amelio, who had an appearance this week on The Tonight Show. And I'll be giving a detailed analysis. You'll see how I think. I've not reviewed the video yet, but she had a talk show appearance on NBC's Tonight Show. And I'll be doing that at the end of our session today. Dell, forgive me. Please continue.
Okay. As I was introducing myself, I think I'm the least articulate person in the world. And the reason why is because I'm the only child growing up in a household where my parents did not talk at all. So my household was quite quiet. So being the only child, I live in my head. It means I'm more of a listener than a talker. But the good thing is I am an ambivert. It means I'm equally extrovert and introvert. And I'm not shy. I can approach anyone in the street, but because I label myself as not articulate with dismal verbal dexterity, then I talk very little. But I realize that being articulate, it's really a good skill. I
Okay,
can.
so I apologize. Let's do a little test. Your thesis was you are incredibly inarticulate. I heard you say you're inarticulate. I heard you say you were an only child. I heard you say that you've, in some situations, have been shy your whole life and you don't feel like you're articulate. Did I hear you correctly?
Correct, yes.
Then I guess what? Your thesis has just been disproved. You're actually highly articulate because you just proved it.
Wow.
If you were inarticulate, I wouldn't have understood any of that. Right?
Well,
Santiago just types in the chat room. I see the tendency we have to underestimate our skills. Dell is more articulate than most people. I absolutely agree with that. You're right on target. And by the way, Hassam, if you were going to join us, I see you posted, then feel free to come in. Oh, we might not have, if you don't have the link yet, Hassam, write in the comments and we can make sure you get the link to join us live because you may be one of the people I invited to join us in the live segment. But Dell, thank you so much. So again, I apologize. That may seem like I'm being a little bit cutesy, but I do want you to look at this through the lens of how other people see you. It's not just me, it's Santiago. We see you as inarticulate, excuse me, as very articulate. But that's just two people. There's an old saying in journalism, one or two people, that's an anecdote. Three people say it, it's a trend. Let's get another viewpoint in here. Barb, did you hear Dell? Do you agree with her assessment that she is inarticulate?
No, she is not inarticulate. And what I think is so cute right now on screen is two women are here with voice only, and we are both ambiverts. And the thing is, like what Dell was her story was that she was inarticulate, and that to me, Dell, you're superb. That's not it. It to me for not coming on video, and I don't think it's about video. I think it's about conversation. Be part of the conversation, connecting real time. Voice is first, video, visual is second. We had radio before we had television, and it was the voice that carried the message that came from the voice. And so, if the only way you can join in the conversation, in the global conversation, in creating community is with your voice, just do it. I'm the one in TJ's team that says, just press the button. Just press the button. That's all there is to it. And you're not nervous anymore. And I think that's Dale's story, is that I've got to get my message out. And Dale, you could correct me, but it's like, I've got to get my message out there. I know it's valuable, but maybe it's because I'm inarticulate that I can't do it. And it's not, I don't want you to put the label there. I just want you to show up and tell your story. And that's what I mean. You can find me on YouTube with in full color, me on video and so forth. But today, my story is I'm dealing with technology. I have to do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and I've got a brand new computer, and things are just not clicking 100%. But I wanted to be here for you. I showed up, I pressed the button. Here I am for you. So, Dale, I say, go forth. and so, and TJ's here probably saying, Barb, can you send Hassam the link? Hassam, if you are a member of TJ Walker's online student community in Facebook, the link is there. The live stream
and Barb,
is there.
apologies. He's someone I invited from LinkedIn. So
okay, he's going to have to, it'll have to be emailed to him, because I can only provide, well, if he's here in the studio with us, which I can't do, then the only other way to invite him in is by emailing the link to him, because otherwise that link is posted on YouTube. And from security standpoint, we don't want to have it just open like TJ. When he opened his session today, he talked about harassment. And sadly, that's, it's contagious. and that's what folks like to do. So I'm hoping that you have an email connection with Hassam, and he can join
I
us.
don't see it. Hassam, if you want to send, and I don't mind putting my email out, tj@tjwalker.com. If you want to send it to me, we'll get that link to you. Sorry about that. Let's go to Henry and see how he's doing today. Henry and Dell, if you could stay with us, we'd love to hear from you more as well. Henry, tell us what you're up to.
Hello, TJ and Bob and all the students online. A great morning from PEI, Canada. Before I ask my question or comment, I want to applaud Dell for being articulate in sharing their thoughts, and also being very authentic. I kindly or respectfully disagree with Dell that they are not articulate. I found, just like Bob, very articulate. So thank you so much. So maybe even related to that is fear being on video. TJ, you have so many wonderful courses on beating the fear. And I think it is because we've been socialized to be on phone without really being on video. And it has grown up with us. And we find that it is a little bit hard to express ourselves on video. So maybe what may be helpful to Dale and even myself or other students is to start being confident on video, just like the selfie speaking program TJ talks about. And related to that, TJ, is my question. I was presenting yesterday at a group of 12 people. I asked questions and people were kind of not engaged, and I wanted to know, and the content was good. And
I'm sorry, let
as a
me make sure I'm understanding correctly. You were giving a presentation and then you asked questions of the audience, or you just started off asking questions?
I asked the question at the audience after my presentation.
So you
And
gave the presentation first and then you said, are there any questions?
yes, and
Okay.
one thing I found, because I had an option of people typing anonymously on slido.com and raising up a hand, people weren't available, and yet they were able to type. So
Mhm.
just wanted to hear some thoughts and tips on how to manage that.
So you said, are there any questions? And you're saying they were in the room or it was virtual?
It was in the room.
Okay. And
It was
the
live.
issue was nobody asked a question initially?
Nobody asked a question initially, and
Okay.
I found that after like 4 or 5 minutes, now they started
Okay.
typing in like anonymously in
So wait a
Slido.
minute. I want to make sure I'm understanding. You're in a room with only 12 people. They're typing questions and what, emailing them to you or tweeting them, or how are they getting the questions to you?
There was a code, a scan code, where you can type anonymously. And what I'm maybe suggesting, we had them have an option of typing. So two of them, instead of raising their hands, decided
Mhm.
to ask anonymously.
And
Like,
was the subject matter highly confidential or personal, where the confidentiality would have really made a difference of whether someone wanted to ask the question or not? Okay.
yes, it was a little bit.
Well,
It
then
was
it
a little
makes
bit sensitive around
then it makes
gender
then it
and
makes sense.
sexuality.
Okay, so that makes perfect sense. Here's what I applaud you for using technology to help people get over that hump of sensitive issues. Here's what I would recommend. If you finished your presentation, it went well, and you say any questions, there's that sometime awkward moment of uh-oh, crickets, nobody's saying anything. What I do is say, I'll now take your questions, wait a couple of seconds, and then I'll say, I want to give you a moment or two to reflect and compose your questions in your mind. While we're doing that, I do want to share with you a frequent question I get from audiences just like you, and then I ask myself the question, talk for a minute or two, and by that time, someone else is ready to ask a question because nobody wants to be the first quite often.
Mhm.
And if you're already the first, it primes the pump. That's what I would recommend.
Very helpful tip. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thanks.
Hey, Henry, thanks so much for joining. Stay with us. We may be able to come back, but I've got to go to some other folks who were nice enough to come by. I want to introduce our next guest, Victor. He's the co-founder of
Hello.
Infinia. He is an expert on digital marketing. Victor, how are you today?
I'm great. Nice to see you. I just wanted to mention that I'm here together with my co-founder Daniel, and we wanted to share some things together. Yeah.
Great. And first
Hello.
of all, I want to praise both of you because you've been a part of my social experiment. About 3 weeks ago, I said, I wanted to kill two birds with one stone. So number one, I get, like everyone, and there's nothing special about me, I get pitched every single day by people on LinkedIn requesting to meet with me to tell them about their services. And a lot of times, and frankly, do need the services, but it's a bit much to start blocking out Zoom calls because I like to talk and I've never had a Zoom meeting last less than an hour. So about 3 weeks ago, I started an experiment where every single person who requested a meeting with me, I said, hey, I'd be happy to meet with you. Meet with me on my live YouTube show and we'll talk for a few minutes and I'll be respectful and listen to you. But I want to do two things at once. I want to hear your pitch, let everyone else in my community hear your pitch. I'll do a brief critique where I talk about what I liked about your presentation and then maybe one tip of how to improve. And
Okay.
you're the first people who ever took me up on the opportunity. So I definitely appreciate that. And we're going to give you extra time because of that and extra respect. So without further filibustering on my part, let me hop in and listen to your presentation.
First, thank you for the opportunity. I guess that's perfect timing. And
Yes.
yeah, let's share a bit more about myself. Danny?
So, hello, TJ. We've been expecting this meeting for quite a long time. To be honest, I wanted to learn a little bit more about you before I actually approach you, as we are approaching only people that we think we are going to be, how to say, suitable for each other in our services. As our services are going, we are going to be very much involved in this. So we cannot work with um, 50 or 60 people. So this is why I just wanted to say that we've researched and we really like what you do. You're doing it for a long, long time. I saw that it is very abnormal. You have 2.7 thousand videos on YouTube, which is extraordinary. You have your first video was what, 16 years ago. You have a brilliant background, so we really like what you do, and this is why we approached you. And we're really glad that you're actually providing us with this opportunity to show you what we can do for you, to show you what we did in the past, what we're doing right now, and what we can do for you, and basically how you can benefit from our services. Okay?
So let me step out of the meeting for a minute and give you sort of a critique. Good stuff. And bring everyone else watching this, either live or on demand, up to speed. So you're clear, you're easy to understand, you're both articulate, your lighting is good. That's great. My biggest suggestion for you is tell me what you actually do, because I've had 10 emails today. I've been doing live sessions. I'm trying to remember in my own mind, are you SEO experts? Are you SEO experts just for YouTube? I don't know. And people who are watching this, who might be good prospects for you too, don't really know what you do. So that would be a basic critique that applies to so many new business pitches, is people just sort of hop in and they forget that their heads are in different places. They may have agreed to the meeting and read your bio a day ago, but now 1,000 other emails have come in. They forgot what it is you actually do. So let's go back to the very beginning. What do you do?
Okay, so in one sentence, we are a digital marketing agency that specializes in working mainly with coaches and course creators. We have a different strategy than most of the marketing agency, and we are utilizing paid advertising and sales funnels. So you, as a coach or person that has courses, you can reach broader audience, and you really can actually reach and put your proposition to the right people in the right time when they need it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's now I do remember, but I just needed that little bit to jar the memory. So thanks for fleshing that out. And that was really explained very well. And Daniel, your lighting is great. Victor, your lighting is a little bit dark. The one suggestion I would give for you is the digitized backgrounds are so fuzzy.
My light bulb is not strong enough.
I think it was just a little bit too far away. I would not recommend you use the digitized backdrop. It's so fuzzy and fuzzy, and part of it is you're blurring out. And I think you'll make a better online pitch getting rid of the digitized background. That would be my one suggestion. Now, let's hop back into the pitch. Let's go deeper, because you did your homework and you learned a little about me. Tell me how you would help me. I mean, I'm like anyone else. I want to reach more people. I want to make more money. Tell me how you would help me.
Okay, very good. So before we actually show you the presentation and basically how we can help you, how you can benefit, I would just will kindly ask you a couple of questions. So we are not going to make assumptions. We're going to provide you with suggestions. Okay, does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay, so
and one quick program note: Paul has joined us, Moss has joined us. We'll be coming to you, and we're a little bit behind. So if either of you want to come back in 10 minutes, we'll definitely get to you today. But I do want to give Daniel and Victor a proper attention. But again, Paul, we do, and Moss, we do see you, and others. So thanks so much for joining us today. Daniel, please go ahead.
Thank you very much. Okay, so if you're going to, let's say that each of your course is going to be one product. We know that in Udemy, for example, you have 208 or 209 courses, which is extraordinary. But how many products exactly do you have?
So on the Udemy platform, I have about 225 distinct courses. You know, the good news is I have 20 international bestsellers. The bad news is I have 200 bad sellers. So unfortunately, it's you know, to get those bestsellers, it takes a lot of experimentation and a lot that didn't go well.
Of course. Okay, so if you're going to choose only three products that are going to help your clients the most, which one will they be?
How to communicate more effectively. It's a type of presentation skill. And really what I've zoomed in on is I teach people how to be more successful through confident communication. You'll see that now. If you've been to my YouTube page in the last week, I've changed the branding, and that's what's in all the branding in the top banner. And that is what I do focus on selling in my high stakes presenter course.
Yes. Okay, beautiful. So why exactly those ones? I mean, you have a lot of courses. You have the application. We also saw it. I have it already on my phone. I love it. If you want, of course, we can speak about this as well. But why do you choose those three exactly? I just want to know, how do you feel about those courses helping other people? Why do you choose exactly this type of presentation product?
Because every single human being has to present to be more successful in life. And it's a unique skill set I have to help people present. And I'm leading with success through presenting and communication skills with confidence, because I've tried a lot of different tests of just leading with public speaking skills or presentation skills. And unfortunately, there's not enough sizzle there. It really comes across more like teaching people how to do dental floss. Everyone knows they need to floss their teeth, but no one wants to go to a YouTube channel regularly or take a whole course on flossing their teeth. It has to be connected with something that's more attractive. As you're marketing guys, so you know the old expression, you need to sell the hole, not the drill. People want a hole in their wall, or they want a place to put a beautiful picture, or they want a beautiful home. No one really wants to buy a drill. And the problem traditionally with public speaking presentation skills is it seems too much like a drill. So what I've focused on is I'm trying to help people be more successful through confident communication skills.
This is very important. It is one of the most important things. Since we actually started, I've always been in sales. I really like communication, so I know that this is one of the best, how to say, approaches that you can take, and one of the best skills that you can actually learn. Okay, so I just want to ask you I only have two more questions, and then we can actually proceed with the presentation. So because you have so many products and you are on social media so much, you have very, very good presence. What is your current marketing strategy, if you have one, to actually broadcast all of your courses, all of your instruments, and all of your products?
Okay. So I don't want to sell all my products. I'm focusing on one product. And that's been the focus for really 3 months. If you look at any of my YouTube channels or any of my YouTube videos on this channel that we're on right now, I'm only trying to sell one thing. And in every video, if it's a long video, you'll hear me try to entice people into the high stakes presenter. Go to highstakespresenter.com. You'll get essentially a free course. It's a marketing video. It's what they call a bridge. Some marketers call it a bridge video. And it's designed to get people interested in a high-end coaching program that is a lot more expensive than the $9 that people often pay on Udemy. So all of my efforts are on trying to sell one thing.
Beautiful. Okay. So one last question. What is your experience with paid advertising? Have you ever tried it? If yes, what is your experience with it?
So I tried it off and on for 15 years. I have lost fortunes on paid advertising. About 6 months ago, I went through a program, Tyson's Honor, that's all about how to use advertising on YouTube for online course creators. So we've gone through starts and stops with that with my partner and colleague. And we are in experimental phases. We're about to start advertising possibly as soon as literally today. So I've shot hundreds of video ads for YouTube ads, and we've done a number of different versions with the long form 20, 30 minute bridge video ads that they come to after the first one. And I would say we've probably broke even with what we've spent. We haven't yet got to the point where we're really scaling out.
Yes. The paid advertising game is a bit hard, I can say, as a person that is doing it for a long time. And to be honest with you, this is why in the beginning I started actually learning about it. I tried to do it myself. And after some time, like we all know, if you try to be the best at a lot of things, you're not going to be good at anything. This is why this is our strategy. We have people in our agency that are specializing in one thing. I'm specializing in one thing, Victor, and all of the other people that are in the agency. So yes, I do agree with you. So we are going to explain you a bit more into the presentation while we're showing you what we actually speak.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do this. And again, I really respect your time and I appreciate it. But the presentation did start 10 minutes ago. As I
Yes.
stress in every one of my
Yes.
courses, the second you show up, that's the presentation. The presentation is never a slide deck. You may use slides, you may not. I like what you're hearing, what I'm hearing from you. You're coming across clear, understandable. Part of any presentation is how someone says it, what their message is, and timing. I found that out this week the hard way. I launched a YouTube short 5 hours earlier than I normally did. And instead of getting 2,000 views, I got 39 views. I personally would be very open to your message 7 months ago. But since then, I've spent a fortune, and I mean a fortune, at this point, 5 figures on coaching programs from Tyson's Honor. I've spent a lot of time in Sonny Lenarduzzi's marketing course. I've spent a lot of time in Ryan Levesque's, his AI program, some of his seminars. So I'm so overwhelmed with implementation now.
Yeah.
I can't even fathom the onboarding process of working with anyone else. Now, 3 months from now, if all these things fail, I may want to really work with you. So again, it's not a fault of yours, your style, or your substance. But with me personally, I think there's just a timing issue. But it may work for someone else because we have a lot of people with us live right now, and people will be watching this on demand as well. Let's do this. I want to respect your time. If you can send me anything, I will definitely look at it. And I appreciate you guys showing up today. Thanks so much for your time and keep up the good work. My one suggestion again, get rid of the digitized background. It's just too distracting.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. And the only other thing is, again, you did some due diligence, but I would suggest though, if you had looked at every one of my descriptions at every video, the only thing I'm promoting is the high stakes presenter. So that would take you to my ad and my whole funnel, and you would sort of see all the funnel, and then telling me like exactly what I did wrong in the funnel would have really grabbed my attention even more. That's the only other suggestion I have. Thanks so much, guys. And email me anything else you have. And by the way, for people who are watching, who are interested in what you have, how can they get a hold of you? What's your website? What's the best contact for you?
Maybe we should try it in the chat here.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and put it in the chat. That would be great.
We're going to
And
put
then
our
that
website.
will be live on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much, guys. Really, really appreciate it. Okay, Paul has been waiting very patiently. Appreciate that. And then we'll be coming to Moss. Paul is one of our regulars. He's an outstanding instructor himself on Udemy. Has a lot of great courses on innovation and creativity and communication. Paul, tell us what you've been up to. Oops, we just lost him. Well, I don't think I did that, but that is the nature of technology. We're going to come to Moss. And Moss, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Fantastic. Tell us how your job search is going. I believe, if I recall correctly, you were a recent transplant to Austin, Texas, in the technology space, and honing and refining your own presentation skills for job interviews. Give us an update.
Right. Well, yeah, I know these presentation skills are very important now. One thing I was watching stated that your qualifications are only about 10%. It's a lot of it's how you present yourself. I had a two-part job interview, one interview Friday and one Monday for a company in the South Austin area, and I didn't get the job, but I think I answered the questions pretty well. And then this morning,
well, but
actually, there was one other
apologize.
job.
I apologize. You've given me an opportunity here. Our goal is never to answer questions well in a job interview. That's never your goal.
Right.
Your goal is to answer questions in such a way that you've left a memorable impression where the person interviewing you thinks, wow, it would be great to have Moss working with us. That's the only goal with questions. No, I mean, this is not a biology test in high school where you're being graded A, B, C. It's a very distinct type of process and presentation. Every answer you give, of course, we don't want to give factually incorrect messages or answers. We don't want to I can't answer it. But simply answering the question correctly, intelligently is worthless. You've got to answer the questions in such a way as to make me think, wow, he'd be a real asset to our organization. He's actually better than the other 10 people I've interviewed in the last 2 days. So I want you to really keep a focus on what the agenda is. Fair enough? And I apologize for the interruption. Yeah. Let me let you continue.
Right. All right. Well, then on another job, they wanted to do what they call a one-way video interview where you answer certain questions through Indeed, and then you upload them. So I did that, but actually last week it said, instead you could do a written one, which I did first because I think I was better at that. But they kept coming at me to do the video, so I did that earlier this morning. And
so I'm going to give you a quick piece of advice. A quick piece of advice: never, ever, ever take the option of written versus when people can hear you and see you. Right. They already have written information from you, your resume.
Yeah.
The resume just gets you in the door with the other 10 people out of the 10,000 resumes they saw who they want to talk to. So never, ever, ever turn down an opportunity for people to hear you and see you. The best of all is in the same room.
Mm-hmm.
The second best is video where they can see you and hear you, and you can see them and hear them. Mm-hmm. The third best is one way where they can only see you and hear you. The fourth best is audio only. Fifth and last place is text, if you actually want to get the job.
Right. Okay.
In most situations. There's always exception. There could be some government job where their policy is, in order to foster more fairness, everything's got to be text-based. But the vast majority of private sector jobs, which I think you're applying for, you want them to hear you and see you. Please continue.
Right. All right. Well, one other thing, that I was watching this week is this documentary called Becoming Bond, where this British fellow, George Lazenby, became like the second James Bond. And he was originally an auto mechanic, and he didn't have any acting experience, but he did do some modeling of, I believe, clothing for men. And somehow some agent caught, his become him from a friend of his, and suggested he apply for this job to become James Bond. And there was just something about him that they liked, and they ended up, he ended up getting the job.
I believe
And
he
did
was
very
in
well.
1967. Was it Casino Royale or His Majesty's Secret Service?
No,
but I do remember.
I think it was His
I do
Majesty's
remember
Secret
his appearance.
Service.
Yes.
Because I guess by then Connery didn't want to do it anymore. He didn't want to get typecast. But I also watched a biography of Connery, and I didn't realize what a fantastic actor he was, in all the different roles that he had after Bond. But Lazenby, after the first movie, apparently the producer, this Harry Saltzman, was very domineering of him. And that the role was played by an actor that also had worked on Larry David's show as his friend. The actor was very good, and he didn't want the job anymore, even though he would have gotten like $1 million signing bonus and like a contract for like maybe 5 or 6 more pictures. So he ended up going into real estate sales. I mean, he had done some sales already, and while Lazenby was still alive, I guess toward the end of the movie, he explains his philosophy about jobs and life and all that. I thought it was very interesting that he didn't just want to make a lot of money. He wanted to do something, that would give him satisfaction, but the acting really wasn't what, his ultimate goal.
Yeah. I mean, I think people don't realize about acting is being a movie star is very glamorous as far as the parties you go to, going to the Academy Awards, having wealth for all sorts of things. The actual job of being a movie star is incredibly tedious and boring. You're sitting in a trailer all day. You come out and you say one sentence 89 times. The actual work is incredibly boring most of the time. It's all the other thing. Moss, I need you to do one thing for me because I want you to get a job. Excuse me. I need you to do 2 things for me. Number 1, I need you to get more light on your face. You're coming, I can't see your eyes. It's dark. You're coming across as literally a shadowy figure. And I'm sure you're a very nice fellow. But people.
I have a light I can put on right over me.
It's got to be in front of you. It cannot be behind you.
Okay.
It needs to be in front of you. The second thing I need you to do is I need you to record a video talking about what you do well, what you're excited about. But I want you to be wild and crazy. I want you to be super caffeinated. I want you to be 10 times louder, more energetic than most. I want you to pretend to be a ridiculous infomercial guru. I want you to do 3 different versions of it. And then I need you to show it to some family member or friend. Get a reaction from them. Because here's what I'm hearing from you. You're too monotone, and it makes people perceive that you're boring and lacking confidence. And what's happening is it's natural during a job interview or being on camera to tighten up. That brings our volume down. That makes all of us more monotone. I want you to overdo it so the point where it feels ridiculous to you. But when you're watching the video, I bet you'll think it's great. And I want you to post that video in our student Udemy page. Can you do that for us in the next 3 days? And I'm begging you, if you think, I don't want you to post it unless you think it's too much, because I've done that exercise 1,000 times with clients around the world and people who are paying $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a day. And every single time they do it and they think, well, that was crazy. That was way too much. We watch the video and they just seem normal. They just seem like they have natural energy. Do that for me. We got to pop over to Paul. Thanks so much
Okay.
And we'll be looking for that video, Moss. I'm counting on you. Thanks. There we are, Paul. We lost you. How are you today?
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes. Uh-huh.
Good. I always enjoy your sessions, TJ.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Tell us what you've been working on in your latest course.
Well, I'm working on a number of courses. The one I launched earlier was summaries of the 50 top business books you should read, with the implication being you don't have time to read them. But fortunately for you, I've read them for you. I've done the summary. I've got the key elements in there. And it ranges from old classics like How to Win Friends and Influence People, right up to Atomic Habits by James Clear, which you were talking about earlier. So 50 top business books. I asked various people. I asked ChatGPT, which they were. I looked on Amazon, and I've got 50, and it's doing reasonably well. I've had some very nice reviews, and it's got some traction. But I'd really like to get some more traction. I'd love it to get on Udemy for Business.
Yes, well, let's promote it here. Make sure you put a link in the chat so that we're happy to promote other people's courses and whatever project they're working on. So when we're done, please put a link in the chat and actually do it in the comment section of the video too. Because this will turn into a live video on YouTube. Once we've stopped the live broadcast, it then becomes a video that sits permanently in the live section. So go back in the comments section and post the link and a summary to your course, and let's get some extra attention and some eyeballs and traffic and promotion for it. Question about this course. So I've subscribed in the past to a couple of different book summary. I think Blinkist was one of them. Yes. There's a number of high quality ones. What's your pitch to someone to come to your course versus getting one of those subscriptions that you can not only get classics, but all new books coming out and summaries of them?
Well, my pitch would be it's video. So it's easy to watch video, and it contains a summary of the key points, often on a PowerPoint slide. So you can slow down, you can pause it, you can absorb the key points. And each video is typically about 6 to 10 minutes long, containing the key messages from that book. So you don't have to read the book. You can dip in and out. It's a random access. You can go anywhere in the thing. If you're interested in sales or negotiation or marketing or motivation, you can go into those sections. So it's very easy. And people, if you like to learn through video, then as far as I know, it's the only video course which covers this.
Okay. And I'm going to ask you a question. I hate it when people ask me this, so apologies. What's your favorite business book of all time?
Well, my favorite book of all time, I think, for a pure motivational basis, is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. I speak on innovation, and the best innovation book, I think, is The Innovator's Dilemma by Clayton Christensen, which is a fantastic book. I like Eric Ries, The Lean Startup, a very good modern book. So things like that.
All three great books. I think I have them right over here. I've read them all. Dale Carnegie is an interesting character because he got his start being a public speaking teacher at the YMCA on 14th Street in New York City.
In New York, yes.
Yeah. And so he rose to influence and international fame as a personal development guru because of his public speaking ability. So it's something I can relate to and try to follow his path in some way. And if you read his book, which is now about 100 years old, on his public speaking book, which came out before How to Win Friends and Influence People, I believe, it's still a good book. It's still a good read. There are some things that are dated, where every reference is for he, and when you talk to other men, but beyond that, a lot of his advice is really good. Like, don't try to memorize, don't read a speech, gesture, use simple words. It's all in his book from 100 years ago.
Yes.
On public speaking.
Yes.
You mentioned Atomic Habits. What other book that's come out in, say, the last 5 to 7 years do you think has had the biggest impact on your own thinking in the business world and had the biggest impact on the broader culture?
Well, there's the 10-minute work day. What's it called? That one which is
The
all
4-hour
about
work week.
4 hour work. I did that one. Yes, that had a big impact. I think there's another one called the Challenger Sale, which talks about, and I was in selling for many years. I read a lot of books on selling. I knew all about that. I went through IBM sales training, so I had all of that. But the Challenger Sale has a very different approach, and what it says is the top sales approach today for big ticket selling is not to be the friend of the customer, but to challenge the customer, to disrupt their thinking, to bring them ideas which unsettle them, and to show them there's a better way to do what they're doing using your solution, and not by being a confident and friend and supporter, which is the relationship selling, which lots of us used to do, where you try and build up a nice warm relationship with your customer. Here you're
Come to
actually
the Super Bowl with me and all that stuff.
yeah,
Let's go
so
out for
all that
steaks.
stuff. What the Challenger Sale is an interesting concept, because what they say is there's loads of people can do relationship selling, but if you're a challenger salesperson, if you're bringing good ideas which make them think differently, then they're going to value you much more highly than other people.
Interesting and provocative idea. I think I've sort of instinctively tried to do that when I'm talking to a lot of prospects, where they'll give me a video of their speech and I'll tell them, you're doing this wrong and this isn't going to work, rather than just telling them they're great. So there are different applications for different places. You mentioned the 4-hour work week. That's a book I've had a love-hate relationship with.
Yes.
I remember when it came out in 2007, and my initial reaction was, this is career pornography, because it was like step one, come up with a business that you can sell stuff online and that kicks off $80,000 a year, so that you can then go to Argentina and become a tango dancer. And then let's go back to step one. How do you do that? Because
you've already done it. You are working the 4-hour work week.
Because I had been, trying to sell all sorts of products and things for years, even at that point.
Yes.
Hey, I never forget 80,000 a year. I wasn't making $80 a year from my products and things. I was having to sell days of my time doing training. And to me, I thought so much of it was just really unrealistic and silly, that you're going to just, sell a vitamin working 4 hours a day. And then I went back and reread it a couple of years ago, and I thought, oh, well, that's obvious. I do that. Oh, hire a virtual assistant. Do that. Well, that's obvious. I do that. Sell stuff digitally. Well, and it occurred to me, I've been doing everything he talked about.
Yes, exactly.
It just took me an extra 10 years to catch up. So the problem was not his book. The problem was me.
Yeah.
I'm just a little slower than Tim Ferriss is. And he's a very clever guy. I mean, he's hardworking, but he's extraordinarily smart and savvy. And that book, that's one of those books, along with Atomic Habits, that was just career making, because I think it still shows up on bestseller lists now 16 years later.
If he said you can be more productive, you can make yourself 10% more productive or 20% more productive, you only have to work 30 hours a week, it wouldn't have sold. And it's because he's absolutely outrageous in his claim. And you think, this can't possibly be true, but I better read it. And of course, he does exaggerate, and it's not absolutely applicable to most people, but there are powerful lessons in there.
Yeah. And to his credit, he points out it's not supposed to be interpreted literally.
No.
And it's a fascinating history of how he came up with that name, because he does something that now is pretty common, of A/B testing, Google Ads. But at the time, it was kind of breakthrough, because back in 2007, publishing executives in New York City would go to the Four Seasons restaurant, have a martini, and brainstorm and come up with the perfect title. They wouldn't outsource that. He trusted the marketplace. He trusted the judgment. He tested all sorts of titles. That one tested the best. And it is a brilliant, brilliant title. Even if you hate the book, you have to admit it's a beautiful title, because it's provocative. It arouses curiosity. It is aspirational. You instantly sort of get what it is. And it does so many things. But he's the first to point out he doesn't literally work 4 hours a week. And again, I don't know him personally, but I certainly know a lot of people who've had a lot of dealings with him who, certainly when he was in the promotion phase of that book, would say, here's a guy who's working 20 hours, forget 4 hours a week. He was working 20 hours a day, getting this blogger to promote him, going on this podcast, this talk show. He was everywhere all the time.
So I have a question for you. You have pivoted towards YouTube, is that right?
So I am still on Udemy every day and still have a couple hundred courses and still make a very nice living from that and other sources too. I have now sort of rekindled an interest in trying to do YouTube seriously. I've been on YouTube since 2005. I had a channel taken down, had bad dealings with them, and just sort of used YouTube as a holding pattern for SEO purposes for the last 7 years. I would just sort of throw up an old video from an old course once a week just to keep the SEO up, because then that video is something new for media training or public speaking training. It's pointing back to my main website of mediatrainingworldwide.com, and it kept that site up on the first page of Google. And I kind of come to the conclusion that in my niche, communication skills, YouTube wasn't a great place because I'd never had much luck getting much traffic. When I looked at prominent, famous public speaking experts I knew from National Speakers Association here in the United States, basically none of them had any views or many subscribers. When I looked at organizations like Dale Carnegie, Toastmasters, American Management Association, people really with decades and decades and decades of experience and millions of clients around the world, when I looked at their YouTube channels, they basically had no views, very few subscribers. So I had come to the conclusion that, yeah, everybody wants to be a better communicator, but they looked at it as kind of like dental floss. I mentioned this earlier today. And it just wasn't anything that was ever going to get much audience. And then only in the last few months, I started really looking around, digging around, and it turns out I was completely wrong. It's true that those old school organizations do a horrible job on YouTube and on social media, but there is a younger breed of experts who are just killing it on YouTube. There's a gentleman from Australia named Vin Jiang who does a phenomenal job giving public speaking tips, communication skills tips, media tips, on-camera tips. And he has, in some months, 1 million views, not a year, not a month, a day on YouTube.
How do you spell his name? Vin Yang?
V-I-N-H, and I believe it's G or J-I-A-N-G. He's based out of Australia, but he's in the United States a lot. Does a fantastic job. I also discovered I'd heard of him before, Alex Lyons, who is a communications professor based in upstate New York and has been extraordinarily methodical and disciplined about doing one quality long-form video a week now for about 8 years. And chronicles his history. It took him 5 years to get to 100,000 subscribers, but now it only took him a couple of years to get to 500,000 subscribers. And Vin Jiang has 1.5, I believe, million subscribers, but he has on Instagram and others 2 million subscribers and followers. And I also looked at a YouTube channel called Charisma on Command. Now, they take communication from a slightly broader perspective, where they're looking at social interaction, how to be popular, things like that. They do it through the lens of Hollywood stars, movie stars, celebrities, how they talk on talk shows. But it's very well done, well written, well produced. They have 6 million subscribers and millions of views every month. So I had to change my thinking. And once again, this is kind of a theme for today. I had to realize I was completely wrong in my assumptions. It turns out you can attract a huge audience on social media talking about communication skills, but you have to really adapt to what works in that medium. I failed miserably my first 5 years on Udemy And then I took the time to learn what other successful Udemy instructors like Phil Ebinger do. And I completely changed everything I did it the way that works on Udemy, and it was successful. What I've been doing in the last 2 months on my YouTube channel is basically, I'm not hitting delete, but I'm throwing away every old way I used to make videos, doing them in a completely new way. And I've also hired editors to try to make them really work well for the YouTube environment. So that's a long answer to your question. Yes, I have shifted a lot of my energy and attention to YouTube because I do believe that in this modern world, if you can communicate through social media video and really communicate regularly with millions of people, then you can sell anything basically. And you've got many, many, many revenue stream options. And it's a much more sustainable business because you're not dependent on 1, 2, or even 3 revenue streams.
So I've got quite a few videos on YouTube going back years, but I don't promote them on YouTube. I promote them on LinkedIn and on Twitter with modest success, I might say. But I've been toying with the idea of going onto TikTok. Are you on TikTok at all?
I was on it and did videos every day for 3 years until not that long ago. And this Monday, I'm going back on. So I realized again, I was doing things the wrong way and I've revamped. So yeah, you can get a huge audience on TikTok.
When you say the wrong way, what's the key lesson you've learned about what's the right way?
So just simple talking head of just my face talking isn't enough. You got to put in some edits and let me just show you quickly exactly what I'm talking about. And
yeah, I'm interested.
This will, I think, give a slightly better sense. And I'm by no means a superstar on Udemy now, but I'm doing a lot better than on YouTube, but I'm doing a lot better than I was, in part because I hired editors. Now, there is a worldwide marketplace for editing skills these days. And so you can get good editing and now for some reason my computer's frozen. I don't know what I did wrong. My keyboard is somehow lost.
Well, tell us the name of the YouTube video which you would.
Really, you could pull up any video I've done on my shorts feed, and the vast majority of them now have more than 1,000 views. If it's the one that just went today, it usually takes a day. So that may only have 19 views. The one yesterday was a bit of an aberration because the editor put in cartoons. But if you look at 10 of the last 14 days, they'll have more than 1,000 views. The thing they have in common is there's a little music behind it. You don't just see my face talking for 30 seconds or even 10 seconds. There's editing, there's B-roll, there's images. Sometimes there's pop culture images of people and people, well-known celebrities, to illustrate key points. So just talking is not enough. So I had done it wrong in the sense I was doing it lazy. I was being lazy.
And you post every day, a fresh video every day?
I've been doing one every day, sometimes twice a day since September 5th. Starting Monday, I'm going to 3 videos a day. And I'm going the more full Gary Vaynerchuk route. And we'll see. Maybe it's too much, but that's the strategy I'm going to try.
Did you see my promo video for the summaries of the 50 top business books?
I believe I did, but forgive me, I don't remember. If you want to share it and play it with us right now, happy to take a look.
I don't know how to do that. Not in StreamYard. But anyway.
Well, you can just hit the present button. Barb, correct me if I'm wrong, but our guests can also share just by hitting the present button. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Or Barb, if you can do it. What's happened is my keyboard has simply lost its connection. I think I accidentally hit an off. Oh, I think I may have fixed it. Hang on a second.
Technology.
Happened one other time recently where no, that did not do it. I have it may be my battery's out too. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Technology, eh?
All right. So,
Right.
Paul, if you want to pull up the video and play it now, there's just right at the bottom of your screen, there's a button that says present, and you can then share.
Right.
Or if you want to put the text in, Barb could do it because she knows how this
Well,
works
let's
very
see
well.
if this works. Present.
And by the way, Henry, thanks for doing the correct spelling. It's Vin Jang. That's in the comments section. Alex Lyons, where I believe his name is spelled with a Y, Lyons, and Charisma on Command. So thanks for doing that. Henry also points out he's currently rereading How to Win Friends and Influence People. And others have been thanking some of our guests for showing on. Pranya mentions he's having some buffering issues. Paul, were you able to figure out that? Or Barb, were you able to figure out how to share that?
It's just spinning round and round. It's not playing.
Well, let's try that for next week. Paul, I don't want to keep you any longer. I do have to get to sort of our final feature presentation of our session today, where I'm going to be doing a live reaction to speaking of TikTok, she is the #1 TikTok star in the world, Charlie D'Amelio, and is just a huge media juggernaut at this point. She is, her sister, her whole family. They are getting like 10 billion views a second, basically, on social media. I want to see how she comes across talking in an old style media environment, The Tonight Show. So that's what I'm going to hop into right now. Paul, thanks so much for stopping by
cheers.
today. Really appreciate it. So I'm going to pull this up and share this. We'll take a look at Charlie D'Amelio. Share the audio. And Barb, for some reason, because we're going to cut this out and turn this into like a 5-minute YouTube video for later on. So if I start this and the audio doesn't come on, I need you to tell me very quickly so that I don't go on and dig myself in too deep a hole. Charlie D'Amelio, she is a superstar on TikTok, other social media, a part of a huge multimedia family that is a juggernaut, sweeping not only social media, video media, but traditional media with their own broadcast TV shows. Here she is on The Tonight Show. This week, I'll be giving you my live reaction here on how she comes across. Let's take a look.
Back to the show. You look fantastic. Thank you so much for coming back. The first time you were here, I want to say it was 3.5 years ago or something.
So if you're not familiar with her, she does, I believe, dancing, skits, other things, and was one of the early adopters of TikTok, rose quickly to fame with just literally billions of views.
Something like that. And we were talking, we were both excited because you had 32 million followers on TikTok. And it was like,
and we've lost it for a second,
wow,
but
that's
it's
awesome.
There we go.
Here we are. That's not that long ago, 3.5 years ago. You're at 151 million followers. Is that crazy?
I mean, to me, it's like I can, like, this is a lot of people, and I get so nervous. So to think that I actually.
So to her credit, she does come across as sincere and genuine. She actually does seem nervous because, yes, she may be seen by millions and millions and millions of people around the globe every day. But as she points out, she's not used to being in a room with 150 people watching her. So it's a different environment. And I've seen myself, a lot of TV stars who are used to talking to one camera get nervous and avoid public speaking because it's just different type of speaking. So she does seem a little bit nervous, but she's also coming across as genuine. She is smiling. She does stay composed. She's not fidgeting. And now she started moving her hands. All good things.
Post for that many people is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I can't really understand it, but I feel like it's better that way because I can be less.
So she's moving her hands, which in general I like, but it does seem like she's a little bit nervous. She's not quite in the zone the way she is in a typical TikTok video. So you can tell it's out of her typical comfort zone, but she is moving her body a little, her face a little, her hands are moving, but they don't seem 100% relaxed, normal movement yet. Let's see how she progresses.
Less nervous.
Yeah. Well, how old are you when you first started? When you...
I was 15.
15.
On the show last time, I was
Good for
15.
you, buddy. That's so tough. I mean, you stayed strong. I mean, that must be a lot of pressure, you know, to start a business and keep going. And
Now, even though she's nervous, she is doing the correct thing, and thus she's smiling. Most people, when they're nervous, do something like this. And the problem with that is you look nervous and you send a message to people that you're not comfortable. Even though she does sound a little nervous and even said she's nervous, putting a smile on her face, nodding a little makes her come across much more comfortable, relaxed, and calm.
and keep thinking of new ideas. And then you have the show, and now your whole family's involved now. Do you ever go back and watch your old TikToks?
I do, and I make
And I'm not quite sure why we're having connection problems today,
fun
but
of myself a lot because it is so embarrassing. But it's also fun to go down memory lane and be like, oh my goodness.
okay, so this part, she's coming across very genuine. She says, I like to make fun of myself. It's embarrassing, self-deprecating. It's always good, especially when everyone knows you're wildly successful and rich, to seem like you're taking yourself down a peg, talking about how she finds her own videos embarrassing, and it's good for a laugh and nice to go down a trip down memory lane.
This outfit was atrocious, but look, it was so cute. I was a baby.
Yeah. You still are. You still are.
So she's using a playful tone of voice, which is good. Nervous people tend to speak sort of in a frozen monotone way and a little bit flat. She's not afraid to really change the tonality, change the speed, the pitch, the volume. I was a baby. So that makes her more interesting, more engaging, and seem much more relaxed on video.
I wanted to ask you something because I saw at Vanity Fair, they did a thing. You did a lie detector test. You know what I'm about to say? Yeah. You love Dunkin' Donuts.
I do.
Okay, well, let's just watch this lie detector test.
You actually like Dunkin' as much as you say you do?
Yes, and I shamelessly promote them so much. No, I'm such a fan of Dunkin' Donuts.
I feel like-
I'm happy that they're doing like cool stuff though.
Do you think you like Dunkin' more than this person?
Yes.
Do you know who that is?
No.
So again, not afraid to make fun of herself and not afraid to be confident. And so that was Ben Affleck, who's one of the most famous movie stars of the last quarter century. And she claims she doesn't know who he is. I don't know if that's true or not, but that is a common phenomenon where people under a certain age are so used to watching YouTube and social media and TikTok exclusively that people who are just famous through movies are not known to them. So it was a funny moment. She's not afraid to laugh at herself and to state her opinions with confidence. So that part is working for her.
You don't know who Ben Affleck is?
I do, and I've like fully had conversations with him before, and like I know who. That's why it's so unbelievable. My sister clowned me for that so hard the entire ride back. I was so embarrassed.
But that's hilarious. So like, yeah, I love Dunkin'.
So again, talking about embarrassment humanizes her, because when you're this young and have a lot of things going for you and this rich, because there's just article after article written about how she and her family are printing presses making money, coming across humble, talking about embarrassment really works. Now, if you are brand new on the scene and nobody knows you and you're head of a professional services company and you're doing a local TV show or a podcast that's business related, then I wouldn't go out of my way to talk about how embarrassed you are all the time and your failures. But her situation is different in that she is so incredibly well known, and people who are so familiar with her successes, erring on the side of being extra humble, talking about embarrassment, helps to humanize her and make her more likable.
You like it better than this person, and you just blanked?
Because I know how much I've had 2 coffees already today, you know? Like,
Yeah, you were in the zone of Dunkin' Donuts. You didn't care
I
who
know how
any
much
other.
I love it, and
Yeah.
it's more than
Anyone.
anyone.
Yeah, including that person who at the time you didn't know.
Now I've looked at the photos. I feel like we can be equal.
That's so funny. You were telling me backstage though, that you actually had a great meeting with Jennifer Lopez. who is like, gosh, we have that in common. She is unbelievable. We both.
So one of the things she has going for her is she's not trying to act like she is Meryl Streep. She's not trying to act like she's 35 years old and this big, serious media pro who's been around for decades. She'll say, yeah, with a little girl voice. And I believe she's 18 now. So she is obviously a very, very young woman. She's not trying to hide it. And she's not afraid to occasionally sound like a little kid. Now, she's obviously an extraordinarily savvy businesswoman and head of a gigantic worldwide media conglomerate, but she's still retaining the essence of who she is and her age and not putting on airs.
Both love Jennifer.
Love her. She's the absolute sweetest. Every single time I've spoken to her, she like can see inside my brain and tell me exactly what I need to hear without even knowing. Like,
now her hand motion is coming across confident. The first 30 seconds of the interview, she was moving her hands and it seemed like, I'm a little bit uncomfortable. The movement we see here now looks completely in sync with how she's feeling. She looks completely relaxed, comfortable, and confident. Let's look in a little more detail.
Genuinely, my dream when I was younger was to be a backup dancer for her. That was all that I ever wanted in life.
Me too.
See how different the hand motion is? It is completely different now because it's 100% in sync with her message, the mood, and the emotion. So she's warmed up now that she's 2 minutes and 58 seconds into the interview process.
Too.
I'm such a fan. We still can.
We still can, yeah.
So I'm just...
Jennifer, if you're watching, we're in. Yeah. She is just the best, right?
Yeah.
She is a pro. When she comes on the show, I mean, her in concert, if she tours again, she will, but
she's insane.
a
Like, you
professional.
watch her,
She puts the work in, man.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So the other thing she's doing well is occasionally, and I want to stress, you only want to do this occasionally. Occasionally, she's looking at the camera like she's talking to a third person there. What you don't want to do is be sitting next to Jimmy Fallon or any other talk show host or reporter or interviewer, ignoring them and staring off into space at the camera. That's weird. But what she's doing is she's looking at the host most of the time, but then occasionally acknowledging the existence of you and me, the viewers, looking at the camera for just a moment. So she's doing that extremely well.
I know Halloween's coming up, and you're a big fan of Halloween. Can you say what you're dressing up as? No.
I have like a list,
Okay.
quite a long list in my notes.
And we're having a few buffering problems today. Sorry about that. We are going to show an edited version of this later.
I work on it all year long, add to it every week, you know?
Yeah.
But so far, I only have like 1 or 2 locked down. I want to do Boo from Monsters, Inc. because I have the bob, and I feel like it just kind of works, you know?
Okay, that's good.
So she's doing something important here. She's just talking about her life. I feel like it kind of works, you know? You can tell that's not scripted. If someone wrote that out and handed it to her on a piece of paper, it would look silly. It would look inarticulate. It would look unprofessional. And yet hearing it come out of her mouth, she just sounds like a normal person being conversational, being candid. So that's good. Sometimes people, when they go on a major talk show like that, are so stressed, they try to memorize talking points. And I'm not hearing anything that sounds like a canned, memorized talking point. Of course, there's some things she wants to promote, but she's not trying to memorize and regurgitate entire phrases, sentences, and bullet points. And we are having some technical difficulties. We'll edit this part out when we are doing the edited version later.
I mean, my boyfriend and I were trying to do like cute couples costumes, but we're so indecisive that we just like can't actually get it together.
Yeah, and you do have a little time. Yeah. Yeah, you have like yeah.
So she is coming across very relatable here. You know, we can't get it together. We haven't decided what we want. That makes her seem like a real person and a friendly person.
Talk about this. How fun is that?
It's crazy. I mean, all I really know about shoes is the fact that I wear them every day. So
Yeah.
I don't know how it actually works, but we have such an amazing team behind us that can.
Again, not afraid to reveal ignorance. Doesn't know a lot about shoes, just knows she wears them.
Blisters, everything hurts. So it's been really fun to take my favorite parts of shoes and my least favorite parts of shoes and.
So you can see she's clearly more comfortable now. The movement is a little faster. She's not rushing, but her tones and words are coming out smoother, more fluid now that she's really comfortable in the interview.
Actually wore them in today. I was like, you should just wear them out with your dress. Why not? They're cute sneakers. But that's wild that you go, yeah, I have this idea and I'm going to make it real. And you're making all this stuff a reality.
I know, it's
I'm
insane.
so happy for you, buddy. I'm a big. And the show, the D'Amelio show, is streaming on Hulu.
Yes.
How's the family holding up? How's
So here's the plug part. Here's the promotion part. She's on the show to promote a TV show she has on Hulu, not Julio, on Hulu. So she's there to promote the show on Hulu. She's definitely not being overly aggressive promoting it right out of the gate because they're now in the last minute of a 6-minute interview. And this is the first time being brought up. So she realized her role there is to be friendly, fun, nice, enjoyable. And the host is going to be promoting her show and making it easy.
the parents? Are they going, is it going to their head, the fame?
You know, the fam's good. We are together a lot. It's great. I mean, I live with my older sister and we work together, so we spend quite a lot of time together, you know.
Exactly.
Sisters, we argue, but we love each other.
A lot of family bonding.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. We love it every time you come by. Thank you so much. And congrats on the show.
Thank
and on the
you.
shoes as well. Charlie D'Amelio, everybody. Season 3 of.
So how did she do? Overall, she comes across comfortable, especially after the first minute, confident, relaxed, likable, relatable, and she didn't get bothered. She didn't say, oh my gosh, I don't know. There didn't seem to be a moment of panic. And she came across as a very genuine, likable human being. She did get the plug in for her new TV show on Hulu. All in all, she has all the markings of being a true media pro with a long career. She started out quite early. So did Justin Bieber and a number of other pop stars these days who really get going in social media earlier, but they use that to go into traditional brand deals, traditional networks, traditional labels, but continue with the social media. Justin Bieber has one of the top 20 YouTube channels in the world, even though he has big record deals and is touring around the world. She's showing similar savvy in that she's leveraging her strength from one platform into other platforms and then traditional platforms like Hulu. So all in all, she is showing all the signs of a media pro who's going to have a lengthy and extraordinarily successful career. All right, I'm TJ Walker. Thanks for spending time with me today. If you have any interest in improving your skills faster than just practicing on your own, I'd urge you to check out my free training video, highstakespresenter.com. That's 3Ws.highstakespresenter.com. I'll put a link in the description below. You'll see that on demand. I want to thank Barb Tomlin for joining us today, Dell, Henry, Moss. Oh, Mahmoud has joined us. And I have a moment left, so let's just let Mama have the last word. How are you today?
Hello, sir. How are you?
Fantastic. Let me stop.
Okay, sir.
Oh, there we go. I hit the wrong
Communicating
button.
with
There
you.
we go. There we
Okay,
go.
so I just watched your critique. No, I didn't even, thought about that this could happen. So basically, I really appreciate your review and feedback around that. And basically, I'm from Pakistan, and here English is not my native language. So I didn't put any key light in that video. It was just a normal room light, right? So
Your
today,
lighting actually looks pretty good. It's just you're just sort of down here in a corner. It's not centered. But your lighting actually looks pretty good, and your English is excellent.
Oh, okay, thank you. And so I just uploaded a new video today on YouTube on the same channel. I will put the link down. So can you please? I will be glad if you can just review it or give me suggestion. Watch it. Just around 5 or 7 minute videos.
Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Can you hit share right now?
Okay, sure. Just
Hit
yeah.
at the
Can I
bottom,
see?
put present, and you can just go ahead and play the video. Or if you want to put
Okay,
the
sure.
link, let me see if my keyboard has come back to life.
Okay. Can I share you in this
No, my
private
keyboard has
chat?
died. What's that?
Can I share you in private chat?
Yeah, do it there, and then I can click on it. Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I just shared on this private chat of StreamYard. If you can
Great.
see.
Great. Okay. So now let me share.
So one critical question in my mind always, always it happens like I'm from Pakistan. So if I make videos in English, because in Pakistan, India, there are not many people who will watch English content. So will my videos can be went viral into English countries like USA, UK, or it would be just move around Asian countries?
Well, you may want to do. I mean, your English is excellent, so you may want to do it in. Is Urdu or Hindi your first language?
Yeah, Urdu, Hindi is my first language, but I am
Okay.
making content in English. So, what do you say? Like, what do you suggest that will this English can work in, like UK, USA, European countries, or
Well,
should I
I'll look at
continue
it.
in English?
I mean, that's going to be up to you. It depends on the audience you want to reach. You may want to just do it. It may be the fastest, easiest thing may be to just do 2 versions of every video. Do one in English and one in your native language. There are ways of using artificial intelligence to convert it, but by the time you mess with that, it's probably easier just to record it again. Mr. Beast now actually hires voice artists in 14 different languages. I'm not suggesting you go to that length. Let's take a look and see what we see here.
Yes, sure.
You want to get into freelancing, start freelancing, or you are already doing freelance work from months or years, or you are working on a freelance marketplaces like Fiverr or Upwork.
So our connection is a little slow. Now, is your audio coming through? Did you hear it okay?
Yeah, I can hear my audio and yours too.
Okay. So the audio's good. I like that you're moving your hands. Volume is good. Energy is good. Now, I'm going to say something where there's some controversy. There are a lot of wildly successful YouTubers with millions of subscribers who have a mic like yours that close to their face. I personally just find it too distracting. Like I'm worried it's going to hit you in the head. Now you can see my mic, but it's not dominating.
Yes,
I
yes.
just find your mic dominating. But again, a lot of people more successful than I am have big mics, very dominant in the screen. But your lighting looks pretty good. And, there's somewhat of a set there. And I see the 4-hour work week and you've got some plans. So that looks nice.
Guru, people per or something like that. But you don't actually knows what is the pros and cons of doing freelancing. I'm doing freelance web development work since last 3 years. So I will be sharing you my honest feedback. What are the pros and
Okay. You said sorry for slow English. So you put that up there?
Yes, because I was confused, like because my English is so like as not as native speaker, so people can watch at high speed for productivity.
Okay. So I'm going to say something here I really want you to take to heart. Never apologize for your English for a couple of reasons. Number one, you don't want to draw attention to it. Number two, people might not even notice you speak English differently than they do. Number three,
Yes.
even if it's less than great, people are not going to say, oh, the fact that he apologized now makes it okay. Just don't draw attention. When I came on today, I didn't say, hey, before we start, I really want to apologize. My hair's falling out and I'm getting a double chin. Right?
Yes.
Now, I'm not perfect looking, but I don't want to start off drawing attention to flaws. You
Okay,
want to
so
speak
I will just
at all
avoid that.
times. You want to speak at all times like you can't believe how well this is going. You want to project
Okay.
confidence. Arnold Schwarzenegger has a strong Austrian accent. He's lived in the United States since 1968. He's never learned how to lose a strong Austrian accent. Hasn't hurt him a bit. He became the top movie star in the world. He then became the governor of the largest state in the United States, which, if it were a country, had the economy of the sixth largest economy in the entire world. And he can't even pronounce the state of California. He never apologizes for it. When you see him in an interview and a speech, he exudes the sense of, I can't believe how well I'm doing. I want you to have that same attitude. Okay. Hey, we're out of time. I appreciate you stopping by. I need a favor from all of you, frankly, as I'm trying the process of building my YouTube channel. I need you to make sure you've subscribed to my YouTube channel, and you're on it right now, so it shouldn't be too hard. And I need you to more important, I need you to leave comments on my videos. If you could leave comments on the last half a dozen that have come out, that would really help out a lot. I would very much appreciate
Kindly,
that.
sir, share your channel link on the group, or post somewhere,
Well,
so I will get notified.
Oh, sure.
And I will
Sure,
follow
you may be in you may be in the stream, so you didn't there. So you can always just, I can't, my keyboard doesn't work. Barb, if you wouldn't mind typing it in, if you're still with us. Barb may have, she had to, so here's what we got to do. If you go to YouTube, type in TJ Walker, you'll see my face. There are other TJ Walkers on YouTube. They are musicians.
I will recognize you, sir. Don't
You'll
worry.
find me pretty easily if you type in.
Yeah, I just
TJ
got you.
Walker.
I'm gonna subscribe now.
Oh, Barb is still there.
We are live here
And
on channel as well.
Yeah, and it's just youtube.com/media training. I did have.
Yes, sir.
I did have
subscribed to you.
youtube.com/TJ Walker, but YouTube took that channel down, and that's a story for another day. We have to sign off for now. Thanks so much. I'll see all of you next week, and I hope to see you daily in the comments section.
Yes. Okay.
right
So
here
one
on this channel.
last thing.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So first, I really thank you. One thing I can do, like put an RGB light in backside so that it can more look like cinematic view. And
Yeah, that would be better. Experiment. Yes.
Yes. And secondly,
Give
so
that a
if
try.
I continue, yes, sure. So if I continue posting content in such a way and improving, daily tiny a bit, so then, after some time, after some maybe is few years or months, will I be able to get much audience on YouTube and social media platforms?
Yes, if you do it the right way, and I've done it the right way, and I've done it the wrong way. The wrong way is just keep putting stuff out, don't pay attention, don't really respond to comments, don't learn what other people are doing, and just keep doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You might not gain at all. But if you're making a video a day, and then you're spending time answering questions, responding, going to other people's channels, and
Yes.
spending an hour a day going to other YouTube experts who have channels about how to be successful on YouTube, and then you try
Yes.
the things they talk about, yes, you will grow an audience. I
Yes,
can't
sir.
guarantee it'll be
I
billions,
follow.
but your audience will grow.
Yes, I follow like Ali Abdal, Tim Ferriss, something
He's
like that. So
fantastic. I'm about to do a video on Ali Abdal. Let me tell you what you think of this, get your opinion of this concept. I'm going to do a video about Ali Abdal and say, hey, I'm getting in my time machine now, have some special effects come out and say, all right, folks, it's January 3rd, 2024, and I'm here to announce Ali Abdal's new book is hit the #1 best-selling slot on the New York Times hardcover business list.
yes.
And I'm going to do it now 3 months before his book comes out. And then I'm going to talk about why it became a bestseller. It became a bestseller because he's doing everything right. He built a huge audience. He's got 4 million subscribers. He's on
Yes,
everyone
yes.
else's show. He's got a massive email list. So I cannot fathom how his book will not be certainly a New York Times bestseller, but I think a #1 bestseller. So I was going to do a video just talking about all the
Yes.
things he did well, and the way that most people don't. Most people try to launch with a book
Exactly.
and they have
Sir,
no audience. He's guaranteed.
this is
and
like
I've already bought the book. It won't be mailed to me for 3 months, but I've already bought the book, and I bet a lot of
Great.
other people do too. Hey, I'm sorry, we have to go. Thanks so much for your time. Thanks, everyone. Take
You're
care.
welcome. Take care. Bye bye.